Hey, well, my name is Jeremy. This is the Mama Tried Flat Out Friday podcast. Who are you over here, sir?
I'm Warren. Nice to see you.
And we have some guests. I would rather you introduce yourself.
I'm Kristin.
Yeah.
Kristin Graves.
Kristin Graves, yes.
And I'm Chris Graves.
With a C.
Yep.
And Kristin with a K.
Correct.
Yeah.
Welcome.
You guys are.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thanks
having
for
me.
having us. This is cool.
You guys are related?
This is my beautiful wife. Yeah.
I hope we're not.
She's the lifeblood of Bad Moon Saloon and all the artwork for Fast Eddie Co.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So that's what we're going to unpack. We're going to unpack what I think is a unique story here, that you are a couple together in the motorcycle industry.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
That's
Yeah.
fair.
And that's
Right.
that's rather unique.
Small business, Midwestern folks.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
And let's hear it for love. If I had something to cheer, I would. Because as you'll see, Warren and I will be fighting back texts of where the hell are you guys. We have responsibilities because maybe our partners are not as involved in what we're doing. Is that fair? And so you guys are a model.
Stace has a role in the merch booth and the merch side of things, so that helps a shitload. You know, gives me the ability to bitch a little bit more about, being busy. But ultimately, no.
Like at Mama Tried, she works.
Yeah. She handles the in-person. She does all the orders and whatnot for the shows in Milwaukee for the race and the show, and then she also helps with. We've got like that mobile merch booth now, so she helps stock that and staff it and
And
get that all going.
It's not even a booth at Mama Tried. It's like the whole stage, right?
yeah, and an army to man it, and that's all Stacy.
That's your wife, Stacy.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you guys been together? Just real quick.
It's like 17 years now.
Whoa.
636 is our anniversary. Do the math.
2006.
Yeah.
I got stuck on the 3-6. Yeah, I don't know, 17 years. Yeah. All right, well, good job. How long have you guys been together?
7 or 8?
Yeah.
Seven-ish?
Yeah, seven or eight. I can't remember.
7.
It's good.
Sounds like a solid
Yeah,
number.
just go with roundabout.
Yeah. We've been married for
2015,
almost
that'll be
5.
7.
How long are you married? Yeah.
Yeah.
How long you been married?
4 years.
Yeah, almost 5 years. 5 years in May.
Okay.
Time flies, man.
Where did you meet?
Yeah, go ahead, take it.
Through friends.
You need to be more descriptive than that.
She was dating one of my friends. I was a third wheel on a date.
It was very briefly.
This is true. And we went to a wrestling match, like a VFW hall, like WWF style wrestling match. First time.
Bitching.
Yeah.
Cool. And you guys make a connection there while the guy's in the middle, or
Oh man, yeah, I felt quick. I was like, yeah, actually, and we started dating. I just kept telling myself, be cool, man. I wanted to ask her to marry me within like a week. And I thought, oh, that's a red flag. So I think I made it like, I made it like 9 months or something before I asked her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
did
well,
you
good
feel
job.
that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You guys, you're from Milwaukee? Both of you?
This one's got an 847 area code.
I do. Yeah, I was born in Chicago, but I've grown up here. Just when I got a cell phone, it was like one of those family plans. So it was based
Chicago
out of
proper,
Illinois.
or are you?
Streamwood.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm from Round Lake, a little bit northwest.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that where your dad's shop is?
Yeah.
Round
Nice.
Lake.
Yeah, in the chain of lakes, just south of the border.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I have an 847 area code too, so
That's right, I
you
saw
never
that.
know.
Yeah.
Chris from Milwaukee?
I've
Fucking
been here 10
flatlanders.
years, so I'm 40 right now.
It's okay. You're among friends.
No, shit hurts when you wake up. But I've been 4 quarters of my life in 4 different places. So I was born in Oklahoma, but then when I was 7, we moved to Alaska.
Wild.
And so that's kind of where I feel like I grew up. That's still where my family is. And when I got out of high school, I went to Salt Lake City because I knew people there. And in Reno, I ended up in Utah for 12 years, and then I've been here for 10.
What was the transition from Utah to Milwaukee?
Why?
Harley Davidson.
Right?
Yeah.
What'd you do for HD?
Mechanical engineer, design engineer. So I
So you're
applied.
making making nuts and bolts, or you're making pegs, or
I worked on like rider interface stuff, so like things that you touch, handlebars, seats, foot controls mostly, and then also side stands. For a while, I was a tech expert on side stands.
did you go to school for something like that, or
Mechanical engineering, yeah.
Cool.
It's like a good way to. You talked about your gray hairs, man. You have those 18-year-old kids coming in there looking like babies, and then they come out 4 years later fat and bald and like stressed out.
Shit.
Dude. Yeah.
Well, mechanical engineering. So I mean, that's heavy math. You have a 4-year degree, a
Yep.
bachelor's.
Yeah.
University of Salt Lake City. What is it? Brigham Young.
No. University of Utah, yeah. So it's less Mormon than that, but I mean, it's still in Utah.
All right.
what about you, Kristin? What's your history? And you educated? Are you
I am
self-taught?
a little educated. I went to school for fashion merchandising and minored in business. And then I worked as a visual merchandiser for a while, and then did like 6 months working under a buyer at a department store, and
Sure.
then I got hired as a contract employee for Harley and worked there for almost 2 years. And I traveled to like almost every dealership in the country, and
Like Monday morning or Thursday night.
yeah, every
week she
single
was-
No
week
kidding.
I was in a different city, and I helped.
That could be fairly
merchandise.
draining. I've been in a few
Totally.
dealerships myself.
Yeah.
And
it
she
was-
always stayed at a Hampton Inn, and it was just like
Yeah.
you've seen movies like that.
Groundhog
where-
Day.
Yeah, exactly. And then I worked for a branding agency until we opened the bar, and now I still kind of do that.
Are you happy you guys made the jump for like small business? You know, that's a
Yeah.
I am. She goes kind of back and forth on it because it's a different type. Well, it's a different type of stress when you work for yourself. But for me personally, I would take it. Like I got way more problems than I did before, but I'd take these problems any day over the problems I had.
sure.
Definitely.
Just because I
yeah.
get to control, we get to control like what is. There's always you can't get it all done, but you get to control what's important to you to work on.
Yeah, you get to set the hierarchy and decide where you want to go, or point your ship on a daily or hourly or minute basis,
Yeah.
which can become overwhelming as well.
Dude.
Ask Proc. I complain about it
Well,
a lot.
well, hang on. I think we are skipping the timeline because we're just getting to know these people. We don't even know they're in a small business, according to our timeline.
Well,
we're
what's-
we're
so
still in
then-
college. We just met.
Why do we have
Yeah.
to stay linear? Why can't we bounce?
We can. I suppose we can. We can. But hang on. There's one answer. There's one question that I have for you, Kristin.
Okay.
When you were traveling,
Yeah.
I'm been traveling. Warren and I see our fair share of dealers, and when we travel, tell me some cool dealers out there in the United States.
Ooh.
I mean, I know there's kind of a stereotype amongst us that they're not cool, but there are some cool. Tell us. What,
Oh yeah, they're super cool. Well, there's that dealership in Scottsdale that's got literally everything under the
Wedding chapel,
sun. Yeah, the movie theaters in
tattoo
there
shop,
too. Yeah.
movie theater.
It's like a Walmart of Harley
it's
dealers.
it's really cool because like it's not Harley doesn't own all these dealerships. Like it's privately owned, so it's like it's cool to see what people take with that and what they make it.
Sure.
Like it's
Like Doc's up in
yeah,
Shawnee.
yeah,
I think
for
it's the
sure.
dude who started GoDaddy that owns that one. The
In
one-
Scottsdale?
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah, really cool people. Like, and it's like a wide variety of people too.
Sure.
Like, it's not just the same type of dude that owns a dealership. It's so.
Did you get to meet the owners and whatnot when you're out there, or it
Yes,
kind of
it's-
depended on when you showed up? Who was
Yeah,
there?
it definitely depends. But some owners like are completely hands off, and some just are there
Sure.
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was the one where you said that the owner gave you guys a ride to dinner or something? You said he left $100,000 in his car.
Oh yeah.
You don't even remember where it was.
My biggest
like maybe it's
regret from
Florida.
that whole job was not like keeping like a journal or something of all these places I went to, because I'll have a connection in a city and be like, I think I've been here before. Like we drove,
Shit, dude.
yeah, we drove down to Tennessee once, and I was like, I think I've been to this dealership. And then I'm starting to see people like at that. What's the show in Tennessee that we were at?
Oh yeah, the
Loretta Lynn's
Yeah.
or
Tennessee music.
yeah, Motorcycle Revival.
Yeah, and people are coming up to me like, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, "Whoa, where do I know you from?" And yeah, it was.
You use
it
a
was
lot
wild.
of dude, buddy, bro. Hey, nice
Yeah,
to see
for
ya.
sure. Like, oh, you.
or hello, my name is Jeremy.
Yeah,
It's gotten me this far.
Oh, that's why you do that.
It's right.
I
yeah.
get it.
'Cause I don't remember names. So you guys both worked at HD, yes, in merchandising, traveling the United
Correct,
States,
yep.
and you made handlebars.
Yeah, I worked on it. Well, when I first got there, and I've like lived and breathed these things. You know, I love them just like you go way back with motorcycles. I think I know Warren does. I applied like 25 times before I got a job. You know, I was determined, and then I get there, and then they, you know, everything's like under a curtain, you know, and then they take it off, and I'm like looking at this bike, looking for exhaust pipes. It was an electric motorcycle, like so the first bike I got. So I actually worked for years on electric motorcycles, which I've mixed feelings on. But part of me was, to be honest, it was kind of like, me, like you picked the wrong guy to work on an electric motorcycle, you know. But I had a good time. I
mean, a lot of that stuff I feel is like you just get thrown in wherever. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think they're picking personalities
No.
or
it's
know.
all about resources.
Yeah.
You know.
And it almost is just kind of just get shit done as fast as you possibly can, and hopefully you can show up for work.
But it's counterproductive to move people too much.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, all those companies like have metrics that they track. Like Harley had this one metric they were tracking for a while called boss churn.
Mhm.
So it's like we want to average 1.1 bosses per year, meaning like it's okay if you have less than 1.1
Yeah.
bosses per year. So, you know, some people might have like 4 bosses in a year.
Yeah.
So like you know, by the time you're getting in a groove, you got to go somewhere else.
I'm sure that's like a super common thing within any corporate culture,
Yeah,
right? Like
for
people are
sure.
always trying to climb to the top or
Yeah.
move or, you know, so like keeping, especially in a place that big, like how the hell do you keep track of all that?
Yep.
HR's got to be a nasty job or a really difficult job in situations like
Oh,
that.
dude, that would be the worst job.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how it is, right? That's why small businesses exist, and that's why corporations exist, and people have options.
Yeah, but it used to be you just like get a job for like 40 years and that's where you stuck it out. And there's a lot of cons to that, I guess, because, you know, you probably want to kill yourself after doing
What
this.
changed? Why are we?
I don't know. I was going to ask you that. But I feel like people like bounce over a lot because every time you make a lateral move, you might have a chance to move up.
Yeah.
And so they just skip around all over
Well,
the
the
place.
organization of going to work, and maybe not organization, the idea of being able to rise through the ranks was an important thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Promote
Everybody
from
wants to go
within.
straight to the top.
Yeah.
They want it now.
If I can just, as a teacher, I teach people how to work, following labor.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say this, I'm going to be a contrarian, that we've only, in a brief time in history, have been working for these 40 years for our employer. You know, before that we were going to a boot maker to get boots made, or
Oh, sure.
we were cobbling together our life. We were subsistence farming. There was a brief time, 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s.
A whole industrial revolution.
But then global markets produce this demand for efficiency, and where employees are no longer, their employees were then a global commodity, where you'd fire and hire as you saw fit for stockholders and ultimately capitalism. These are bold statements.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So the idea of being an entrepreneur is kind of the American, I'm going to say, the more of the reality of what we used to be. You know what I'm saying? If we're going
You
to
got to
say
be
the
a
good old
hustler now. You
times.
can't just be, I mean, you can be an entrepreneur, but you have to have your hat in a
But
lot of different rings.
Doesn't an entrepreneur assume hustler?
Yeah. Yeah, but you like, I guess entrepreneur, when it first was a thing, I would say it was more singular in your business and you focus. So you take the same approach as somebody working somewhere for 40 years. But now it's not like that.
Sure. Well, like when I walk through our neighborhood, I'm sure when you walk through Bayview, even Landon, and you're like, oh, there used to be a bar here. There used to be a horseshoe maker here. There used to be, these are all small businesses. That's what America was.
Yeah.
So I'm just being a little bit of a contrarian there philosophically.
Well, we could also talk about like how, you know, there's these terms that are antiquated and will go away in like another generation. One being the word pension. You know, so like the golden age of pensions.
Sure.
Well, I guess the baby boomers got all those, but you know that didn't really exist prior to the 20s, and
Sure.
and it won't really exist, you know, past the 2030s.
Do you have retirement?
Yeah, but like so for Harley and most companies, Harley was 06. So if you worked there prior to 06, which I didn't,
Yeah.
you know, you were grandfathered into a pension. But nowadays, it's just like, well, shit, you got one.
I got a pension
Yeah, you
coming.
got one.
I'm
Dude, count
retiring-
yourself lucky,
Returning
man.
5 years, people.
Yeah.
Look out.
But it's either that or like government jobs, you know, or in the public sector like that, or in the trades.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones left.
Yeah, I hear
Maybe
you.
some like aerospace and oil companies and things like that.
And we can debate that. We can debate the pros and cons in another show.
Well, are you telling kids to go do the trades? Are you?
I'm at a much more lower level than that.
But you're
I'm
not-
telling students to pull up their pants and to not fart.
Okay.
What grade do you teach?
I teach students of all ages because if in the state of Wisconsin, if you have a special need, you can be in school till you're 21. You can be publicly educated until 21. My students are generally 17 to 21.
Oh, nice.
But they have
To
a
21,
significant.
you got a couple that are 21.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But they have a significant disabilities.
Yeah, yeah.
Behavioral or autism, things like this.
Are any of them like savants with the Rubik's cube?
There are some savants in other areas for sure.
Oh, really?
For sure. Yeah, Bolt. Thanks for asking questions about me. I wasn't prepared. This communication flows this way. Well, okay. We established you went to college. You both worked at HD. You also are known to be a builder. Is that fair?
Yep. Yeah. I've been building for-
Fantastic builder, right? Like very
Oh.
meticulous.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I always just like I go a little nuts sometimes, and when I should back off, I keep going. But it just makes things take longer. But I've been doing it for 20 years
Yeah.
now. About
So-
I've been doing it for 20 years, and I don't go that deep.
yeah, but you probably put more of them out than me.
Oh, absolutely.
I used to be so fast, though, man. Just build a whole bike in like 3 days with a cutoff wheel. It was terrible. But man, now they take forever. And
That's why I'm right in the middle somewhere. I like,
you probably built like fucking 80 motorcycles, I bet.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I was doing some math because I'm trying to put together a website, and I have a pretty good record of like the bikes that I've done, and if you do the math, it's over 100, I think, because it's,
I believe it.
but it's, you build bikes that are like art pieces. I build bikes that are, I mean, there are art pieces in some way. Somebody thinks it's a piece of art, but
piece of
it's
something.
to each his own, right? Like, I tried to do a restoration one time. Fuck,
Yeah.
never.
Me either. I'm not
No way.
down for that.
I can't do it.
Well, I'm making a connection here. I like to always find parallels in things because your bikes are very meticulous. And you mentioned about being a savant. I kind of feel you have a little bit of that, the hyper-focused in you, that you can, right, perfection, every bolt is perfect. Is that fair? I see you nodding your head. Yeah?
Yeah, but like
Yes.
you might be mistaken the social awkwardness for being a savant.
Well, okay.
But that's just all engineers got like a different level of social awkwardness.
Nah, he says he's socially awkward, but we'll be in an Uber, and by the time our trip is done, he's got this person's life story.
Yeah. I
How
wouldn't think you'd
long
be
he
socially
could
awkward
do
at all.
it. Yeah, no.
Oh, really? Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And all of that means a compliment. I am not diagnosing you in any way. I'm just saying that I feel that you hyper focus on your bikes, which is another point that you can tell the personality. You know Warren built those bikes.
Yeah.
And if your bike was sitting here and we had to draw a line to who built what, and if I built one, it would be real easy to know to draw the lines to who.
Well, you got like
But
a Sportster shop or
Yeah, but I
Chevrolet or
didn't
something?
customize it.
Yeah, but you got to fix it.
Well, that's what Warren helps me do.
And now Josiah's gonna kind of pilot that program for a little bit. He needs to get into bikes, and Jeremy has one, and if he maintains it and fixes it, I think the deal could be made where he can utilize it as well.
Well, you used to hook people up like that. Like,
Yeah.
you let Dusty ride that shovelhead forever, or you let a couple people ride that bike, and I just thought it was so interesting. It's like, here's my motorcycle, go ahead, take it.
I
for a
still
ride.
do. I hate seeing them back there just sitting there. Like,
Yeah.
if somebody wants to take it and utilize it and take care of it and get it out there, like, it's like somebody wearing my T-shirt, right? Like, so if somebody's gonna love it like that, I
You
can
mean
get
wear
impressed
your
out of
wear your branded T-shirt?
that.
Yeah, so it's helping you put your name out there,
Yeah.
and it's also like you're taking care of something. I have one chopper, and I don't have the headspace to even take care of it. So Josiah's helping me with that headspace, and why should he not be invested in taking it on the road and taking it on a date, getting it used? So we established your bikes are meticulous. You how many bikes do you think you built?
Man, probably like 30.
All 30 you think are show quality?
No.
No.
I thought so at the time.
Well, yeah, and you've learned.
Yeah.
You had a bike in Born Free.
Yep.
Would you think that was what's the word?
Pinnacle?
Pinnacle? What's the French phrase?
Oh, de la whatever. Creme de la creme? Creme de la creme?
Is it creme de la creme?
The creme de la
Nail it.
Yeah.
Was the Born Free bike that?
Oh man, I'm terrible at giving myself compliments, but that bike, I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a compliment because I never built a bike that I liked so much. You know, when you put a lot of work into something, and then at the end of the day, you might not really like. I mean, it's exciting to ride it around or whatever, but that is the most fun bike I've ever built.
Yeah,
And it sucks because all the other ones I build are just gonna look exactly the same.
What I like about what you said, you prefaced it as like, hey, this is a brag. I didn't find it to be a brag at all. I think that's what we're all striving to do, is to create something that we really enjoy. And if I said to you, oh, I don't like this bike, you'd say, fuck you, I don't give a shit. This is an awesome motorcycle for me. What I think what I was expecting you to say was, hey, I don't mean to brag, but Joe blah, blah, blah said this bike is great. And you weren't, that doesn't bother you.
No.
You know that this is intrinsically satisfying, this chopper that you built.
Yeah, man, it's just so fun to ride. And
Yeah.
it just like starts so.
You know, let me
easy.
ride it.
You want to ride it?
Yeah,
hell
yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's really easy for you to start. I mean, it's like that's my secret. Everybody think because it's a shovel head with two front heads and it's dual mags, and everybody thinks it's like it must have like 11-to-1 compression and be stroked and stuff. It's a 74-inch motor, man. You could probably hand start
Just
it.
fart on it and
Yep,
starts.
yeah, it's great.
So we started this conversation with talking about love. What's your part, Kristin, in building motorcycles?
I supply the food and no, that's about it.
Makes great
That's
snacks.
Some
The
great snacks.
moral support.
Remember that time I almost dumped a bike out of the truck and I somehow was able to get to my phone and call you to run out
Yeah.
and keep me from dropping it. And she helped me hang. You helped me hang the doors on that pickup I built.
Yeah, I'm always there for a helping hand.
She just
you know?
can't really lift that much, you know.
No, I'm not very strong.
Like yesterday, we were moving a table in, and she couldn't pick up her half, so I just had to kind of drag it.
Yeah, it's true.
The lift drag.
Yeah. No, I mean, I admittedly don't know too much about motorcycles, but I've definitely have learned so much just through working at Harley and also being with him. So I can like really appreciate what I'm looking at and have so much respect. And I tell him like it's always fun whenever he builds a motorcycle because fun things happen after that. Like we went to Japan with that shovel head.
That's true. If we die tomorrow, then
Yeah.
You took it.
Yeah.
You took the motorcycle to Japan.
Yeah, man, it's the only
Yeah,
time that ever
invited,
happened.
yeah.
It was cool.
Invited to Moon Eyes.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Was it
Well,
a
how
hassle?
was it?
I was so excited. Like, so I gotta tell you the story of how I'm because I won like best shovel head at Born Free, but that didn't come with that. It's like Builder's Choice or something. I think that they shipped to Japan, and then Mike and Grant get to pick somebody. And I think those are the two, and maybe there's one other award that they systematically send to Japan. But I didn't get one of those. But after the show, Shige from Moon Eyes was walking around. I didn't even know who he was. Somebody told me that's who it was. And he was looking at it, and then he walked up to me, and then he like whispered, like, "You want to go to Japan?" And then he walked away. And I was like, "What the fuck? What did he just say? Did he just say that?" And then as soon as I got him, his assistant to say it again, I got so excited I tore my shirt off.
That's cool.
They actually put it in a box and shipped it.
Yeah, they put
And it's back.
They do like 2 or 3 entire shipping containers, a couple cars and a bunch of bikes, and they ship them all over there. And it's like you got to drop it off in October. The show's in December, you know, because it goes over by boat, and then I think you get it back. Well, you get it back in time for Mount Tride, I think.
That's
Right.
cool. I like how was being an invited builder over there, right? Like I always like to hear how the other side works. You know, we have a show, but you never know how things go.
Dude, I had spent years we both had listening to people talk about Japan, making it sound like this amazing place, and so I thought it was going to be cool, but I didn't realize everybody was right, and like it really is the coolest place, and culturally it's cool. Just the level of trustworthiness just blew my mind.
Yeah.
You know, like nobody will take anything from you. Kristin immediately, they thought she was like, they were filming her and stuff, like walking around. She's just like this blonde-haired lady. They're, you know.
Yeah.
I
So
was
she
in a
just-
Starbucks and I turned around and there was 2 people like
Sure. Yeah.
Like-
Did you go say hi?
No, I just was kind of like I didn't think about it until we got to the show because then
Sure.
it started happening again. I was like, oh, That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it's
it's
strange to be behind, like, or in front of the camera when you don't expect it,
Yeah.
especially in foreign countries. And
Yeah.
you take those things for granted. And
I thought people would speak English too, and I realized that a lot of them do, but they're shy about it, so they act like they don't.
Sure.
And then you can't, like in a Latin-based language, like when we went to Italy, you can kind of figure out the words, but in Japan you can't figure anything out by looking at the writing.
Sure. Yeah.
And nobody's going to talk to you.
Yeah. Fish out of water.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, we got lost on the subway a couple times.
Yeah, that was like really stressful to just like not be able to read anything
Yeah.
or even like slightly interpret
You gotta
Just
take a
completely
deep breath
blank.
and
Yep. Yeah.
pull back.
Yeah.
It's a lot of shoulder shrug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love how hard they go on everything
Everything.
they do over there. They
Everything.
dive in 100% with like every fiber. They just commit to whatever it is they're into, and I think that's admirable.
Yeah, it's blinders on, and they're going for it. And they pick that lane and don't give up until it's over.
Right.
That's cool.
Well, Warren, I was trying to keep this conversation linear. So
How
this is
did
the
you-
moment you've been waiting for here.
Well, hold on. While we're in Japan, you had that story about, if you want to tell it, mushrooms in Japan.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. How the hell
If you want
did
to
you
tell it,
pull
I don't
that
know.
off?
But
Yeah.
I think it's a fascinating story. I
Oh,
think
wait, yeah.
It was actually the first time I've ever done mushrooms, I think, and it was great. It was
Yeah.
Of all places, though, Japan is like
Downtown
the most
Tokyo.
highly
Tokyo.
regulated
Yeah.
place when it comes to
yeah,
drugs.
I didn't bring them myself, but like somebody gave them to me, and I said okay, and then we took them and we went downtown Tokyo.
Oh,
and had,
Christ.
had like a blast, man. It was one of the best
was
nights
fun.
ever. But
Yeah.
there were these guys that were like, I just laughed a lot because everybody's working all the time there.
Yeah.
Everybody's working.
Trying
and
to get
then
you to come into their stores or whatever. They're just on it.
they're just like running around working all the time. And then I met this guy at this bar. We had this bar in this alley, in this back alley. It was neat. It was like the size of a bedroom, 3
I
stories.
think it's called the Albatross.
Albatross?
Yeah, that's what it was called.
Yeah.
And the first story, you just walk. It's just a set of stairs, and you go up to the second story. Second story is a bar. Third story is a roof, and there's a hole in the floor where the bartender can hand you a beer. Yeah, it's cool.
Sounds great. You just stumble on it, or somebody take you there?
Somebody, maybe Ryan Grossman or somebody
Oh
knew
boy,
about
man!
it.
When I was in Japan, I was with Grossman and fucking Party Boy, Sean Donahue,
Oh yeah.
and Scott. Oh my God, we probably went to the Albatross, just didn't know it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Dude, but there were these guys there that would. I met this dude who was really drunk, and he was wearing a suit, and he said something about like, oh, I gotta go back to work, and he was hammered, and I just thought that was the funniest thing I'd ever heard in my life. I fell over laughing, and then I couldn't stop because I look over and there was 2 more guys running at full speed with briefcases.
Dude,
it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Did you see anybody laying in the bushes with briefcases, full suits? Like
No, but I
they got off at 3, partied until 2 in the morning,
100%
took a
believe
nap,
it.
got up, went to work,
went to work.
passed out in the bushes.
Fucking gnarly, man.
Wild, unbelievable.
Champs.
I saw this thing about they don't have dogs, or like a lot of people don't have dogs, but you can rent one. It's like the weirdest shit, dude. I love how creative they are. Because did you ever see? I never got to see them, but they told me that they grow watermelons in a plexiglass box that are shaped like cubes, and you can stack them. Like, what fucking genius thought of that? Oh, I can stack my watermelons, dude. Only the Japanese.
It's all about
thought of
space,
that.
man. You have to be efficient. You
Yeah.
don't have a choice. Like
Right.
to own a Harley Davidson in Japan it's the hardest thing you can do. It's so expensive. You have to have a garage to put it somewhere. Like it's not an easy thing to do, and to take it to the nth degree the way that they do is unbelievable. It's inspiring.
Yeah, they do a lot with their space, and they do. Here people will, they'll always, have somebody else paint their bike if they're not a painter, have somebody else build a motor if they're not a motor builder. They'll have somebody else do a lot of different things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's kind of neat over there how, if you build one, you'll do everything yourself.
Yeah.
Like they do every step that they're capable of doing.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
I appreciate that. I didn't know that you went to Moon Eyes.
Pure luck.
Yeah, it's an added bonus story.
Hashtag.
Pure luck.
All right, I'm sorry that if I try to keep these conversations linear. But the point that Warren was waiting for was you left HD and you started a business on your own.
Yep.
Can you tell me about that threshold?
Was it multiple business? Well, you had Fast Steady rolling already, right?
Yeah. Well, let me start. I'll start way back if that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
So this lady came to the bar the other day, which I'll get to the bar. But she dropped off a box of old magazines, like Easy Rider from the 90s and horse magazines from the early 2000s. And I was looking at this one, and I had this motorcycle shop back in the day, like when I was way too young. I did not know what I was doing, but I thought I did.
Salt Lake City?
Yeah, in Salt Lake City. And I looked at this magazine. I was like, I wonder if this is one of the 6 or whatever that had that ad in it. And it did. It was in there, man. So I showed Kristin. I was like, see, I wasn't lying.
What was the name of the show?
Oh, Gravedigger's Choppers.
Oh, that's
Yes.
not bad.
Yeah.
I can see the logo.
Yeah.
It was a tombstone.
Of course.
But yeah, and then I, whatever. I got, actually, it worked out really well because I had that shop in the early 2000s, and then
Did you actually have a shop?
Yeah, I had a commercial spot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like cheap, $750 a month rent, and some just junk like wooden bike stands and a Harbor Freight drill press and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it got me by. But then it was pure luck that I got into school for engineering right before the economy collapsed, which I definitely didn't see coming. But I would have gone out of business anyway. Point being, so I was really lucky that in 2006 I started going and I finished in 2010.
You're the big thing, your big padded balloon you fell into was college.
Right.
Wait, so in between high school and college, you started a shop.
Yep.
So how did you learn that skill set?
I just went, I took this it was over the mail. It was like 2001. This became a certified motorcycle technician
Through the mail.
Through the mail. Yeah. They give you like a bunch of
This
books.
is pre-internet, right?
Dude, this is that's definitely a dead business model at this point. But yeah. And
With
then,
a cassette.
And then I took some welding courses at the community college, and then it just kind of went from there.
Were you living at home during this time, or you had your own apartment?
Yeah, I split a house with a bunch of dudes.
Right. So that's great, because normally people would just split a house with a couple dudes and they get a job delivering pizzas.
Right. Yeah, I lucked out because back then they give anybody a loan for mortgage, and so I was like 21 or something and bought this house and never pay. I had to deal with having like 4 other roommates or 5 people in like a 4-bedroom house forever. But that was how I paid the mortgage.
They call that's a thing now. It's like life hack or real estate hack. Like they're still doing that and pushing it right now. You were the predecessor or the creator.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like that's a thing. It's house hacking where if you have enough money or you have the ability to get a loan, you
go get it.
Yeah, go grab all your buddies, make them pay your mortgage, and do it again.
Because if they didn't live there, then they got a word for that too, and it's house poor.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah, so you were building your equity early on, and being a businessman, you didn't know it. Yeah,
that was like the only real money I've I lived there for 2. Well, what's fucked up about it? Kristin hears me bitch about this all the time because when we started the bar, I looked at how much that house was worth now. So I had it from 2002 to 2012, or I had it for a long time, and then I moved to Wisconsin, rented it out for a year, and then sold it in 2013. And thought I made out like a bandit. Bought it for $150, sold it for $250, and then I looked 2 years later, it was worth $425. And then I looked when we opened the bar, and it was like $650,000.
Hey man, that's the only way that I learned stuff is by fucking it up. So
Right.
don't do it again.
Well, I fucked that up.
You have another 20 years though to not fuck something up. Is the question.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna try.
Relate Gravedigger's Choppers. Gravedigger, what was it called?
Gravedigger's Choppers.
Okay, to Fast Eddie.
Yeah, so after I moved here and I was an engineer at the motor company for probably 7 years. The funny thing is I got that job thinking, this is what, I love motorcycles. If there's a way to work a quote unquote normal job for 30 years, this is the job it has to be. And then after 6 months, I realized, fuck, I can't do it, man. And then I spent 7 years trying to get out. And then I started making tools. I just made a valve spring compressor. I made a batch of 20 of them, and I sold them all. And then I made 20 more, and I sold all those. And then I rolled that into developing some other tools, and then now I'm up to like 44 SKUs or something like
How
that.
How many of that is Tavis have his hand in?
Oh, he machines. There's still some stuff that's made on manual machines, but Tavis probably does like 75% of the machine
That's
work.
bitching. That's a Mama Tried connection.
Yeah, man,
Right?
He's awesome. Yeah,
He
I don't
rules.
think I would have known about him had it not been for you, because
Yeah, he was.
in
He,
Triple
when I was in Round Lake, still living. I was living with my parents or living with DL at this point. We just happened to run into this kid that had a house and had a garage with a couple mills in it, and I was just starting to build bikes, and he helped me with whatever I needed. You know, he had this thing. He started out with like making master cylinder reservoir or master cylinder covers. So like I saw, he brought it into the shop. I think that's how he showed up. So I was working with my dad. He came in the shop showing us these master cylinder covers, and I'm like, hey man, I need help with some other machine. Like, so we created a little bit of a relationship
What
there.
did you
and
drop on him first? Did you go right for those triple clamps?
No, I don't think he started. Maybe he did start making those triple clamps for me. I don't know. There's another place up north. I think he was the second one that was making them
really?
clamps. Yeah, it was little stuff like. I remember talking early when I first started. It was spacers and things that I couldn't make at the shop because all I had was a welder and a grinder and a little lathe.
Yep.
You know, and he was doing some of the harder, more technical stuff for me.
Yeah, I've worked with a bunch of shops since. You know, like when I just try to spread it out, because if Tavis just fucking kicks the bucket or something, that's an awful thing to say.
No, it is.
But
what it is,
whatever,
man.
I went to this other shop that was screw machine focused, I to make these float bowl drain valves, and I ended up going back to Tavis because Tavis is he means what he says, and he's just like, he's an honest person, and he works really fucking hard.
Really
He
hard.
delivers awesome stuff, and he always makes good on whatever.
Mhm.
And so I like, trust is worth way more than
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. I'm going to see Tavis on Friday. I bought an '89 ZX7. I'm getting into sport bikes now.
Really?
Yeah, I was influenced by Mr. Jeff Wright of Church of Choppers.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So I bought a couple sport bikes, and it's an '89. It's 1 year only bullshit. So these intake manifolds are worn out, so we have to retrofit them with like O-rings or something. So we're gonna go down, and I've never been to his new shop, so we're gonna figure it out.
Is he still in Round Lake?
No, he's in
Bristol.
Shreve or Bristol. Yeah,
Bristol.
Bristol.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I get to see him, and my wife's gonna go hang out with his family, and it's cool. It's just he's a great dude. Him and my buddies from Round Lake always come up for Mama Tried, and or they surround me and support me around that weekend. So
Yeah.
it's just nice to see him outside of that weekend.
Yeah, he came and delivered a bunch of tools to the bar the other day, and then stayed, and I just fed him a bunch of free beers. And then next thing you know, he's like showing that video of him doing a smoky burnout on that mini bike that he has.
Yeah, that thing's crazy.
Yeah. He's also into sailing.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yes, I did know that.
Tell what is Fast Eddie's then to someone that might have no idea.
So it's named after my dad. That's why the name, like, people always call me Eddie on the phone, but that's named after my dad.
So that's an important part of this puzzle you've left out. Your dad must have given you some skill sets also.
You know what's funny is, like, he always tried to, but I was too busy. I just wanted to go skateboarding,
Okay, well, something sunk in.
Yeah, maybe the work ethic I got from
Okay.
him, which also kicked in later. Like, but he's been dead like 12 years, and so I don't. He didn't get to see any of this, but I think he'd be stoked.
Sure, and he's
still
there.
around.
He's part of it. He's alive.
Yeah.
So Fast Eddie's is a what? So that's the name. What do you make? Make coats?
Specialty tools primarily for Harley Davidson motorcycles. So all
Yeah.
kinds of bearing presses and pullers, pinion gear pullers and locking tools, and we're just expanding the lineup every day.
Has Jim's called yet? And they want to buy all your stuff yet?
No, nobody's called to like yell at me yet or anything.
Yeah.
You sell, ship globally?
Yeah. It was trippy when I first started doing that. Lots of customers in, Sweden and Finland and in the UK, and then a ton in Australia. Probably Australia would be like the number one
Foreign market?
foreign market. But Lowbrow, so like Lowbrow also carries all the Fast Eddie, well, the majority of the Fast Eddie Co stuff. and they get really good deals on international shipping because they negotiate rates.
Sure.
And so a lot of international customers, I'll point in that direction just because it makes more sense for them.
That's cool. That's pretty awesome. You know, the Lowbrow again has been a big supporter of us and what we do, and you know they're just rad folks.
They're the shit to
Yeah.
work with. Like
Tyler.
I got great things to say about them. Like every one of them, everybody on their team, they're is so awesome to work with.
Yeah.
You know, they send FedEx to your house to pick up the boxes. Yeah, they're the best. I never actually met Tyler until we went down. I went down with Kevin, to Fuel, and met him for the first time. And
Sure.
it's just as cool in real life,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. So besides Fast Eddie Co., you guys are bar owners.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, we originally bought the bar to build a shop for Fast Eddie because it had a whole acre and it's industrially zoned. But then Kristin made the bar what it is, and I realized we can't really use that space for that because when we have these events and pack the whole acre, those are the days we actually make a living. You know?
Sure.
It has a garage on it still, doesn't it? Or
It has a little garage that's also a bar that when we're having events we serve beer out of there too.
Oh. So scrap the idea of Fast Eddie's.
Well, eventually it'll go commercial, but I've been restoring this new barn for the last 8 months. So that's
Where's
the
this
new-
barn?
In St. Francis, like pretty close to the bar.
Okay.
Yep. So that's going to be the new headquarters.
Okay, so you don't stop.
No, I don't stop. It's going to have an elevator in it, dude.
Okay, well you can't stop then. You gotta want to see the
You
elevator.
got to come over and check it out.
So you have a bar, Bad Moon Saloon. Yes. Now I'm talking to you, and with your history of fashion, and an eye for things, you've created this bar.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about this?
Yeah, well, we had no business buying a bar. We've never been in the service industry.
Well, it sounds like you do have business.
Yeah, well, I mean, from day one, we just admitted to everybody we brought on board, we don't know what we're doing, but we really want to do this and we really want to make it work. And I mean, we've been so lucky. It's been so good. Yeah, we opened in April 2021, so we bought it in November 2020, during the pandemic. I think both of our parents were just like, what the hell are you guys doing? But yeah, we just...
You weren't pushing the envelope if somebody wasn't questioning what you're doing.
Right, yeah, that's true. Yeah. So we just kind of took our time renovating it since the world was closed. Yeah. And then, yeah, we opened things weren't completely back to normal, but they were getting better. And it was awesome. It was people were out and ready to make up for lost time and just partied all summer and never really stopped.
Do you think your clientele is the majority of the neighborhood, or is it the city, or is it people you knew headed before, or where's the support come from?
It's really eclectic. We got
Yeah,
all
I
walks
think
of life.
that's kind of what surprised us the most about this is how diverse our clientele is. We do get the people that live down the street and can walk to the bar. With a ton of it is our friends. I don't think we would be as successful as we are without all of our friends. But yeah, we have quite a few events during the year. We work with Ashley Smith, who owns Alive and Fine, on KK in Bayview, and she organizes the One Trick Pony Flea Market, her and Maureen.
Yeah. Work with Maureen and Ryan Smith, her husband.
Yeah.
Ryan used to work for me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, and they're just the raddest people.
Yeah, small world, and that's such a cool thing they do with the flea market.
Yeah.
The flea. It's pretty awesome.
Dude, I call her my favorite weirdo because she's just got the weirdest mind.
Yeah.
And she thinks of the weirdest events to do at Bad Moon, and they're always awesome. They're if I said, well, I want to have a meat raffle at Bad Moon, I wouldn't think anybody'd come. And she has a meat raffle, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
She had a party
DJ.
one time to just watch Twin Peaks.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was cool. A bunch of people showed up.
Yeah. Well, when you have a creative mind like that, people follow, right?
Yeah, for sure.
People just need to be pointed in a direction, right?
Yeah.
Grab their attention and give them something to do, and they'll show up.
Tell them about the one we just had. That was kind of cool.
Slasher Bash. So I have a big screen and projector, and she has one as well. So the whole bar is on an acre-sized lot. So we have a huge backyard, and we put up the screens on opposite ends of the yard, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre was playing on one side, and Slumber Party Massacre was playing on the other side. And she's got all these vendors to pop up in the middle, so it was like a night market. And then we had a pizza food truck, and she's so creative. And it was such a fun event. And even though it was like cold and rainy, people still came and had a great time.
It's unique. It's fun,
Yes,
right? Like
yeah.
everybody's always searching for that next thing, right? The next fun, creative thing to do.
Yeah, totally. And that's like one of my favorite things about owning this bar is like we can provide a space for that. And
That's not normal. You know that, right? Right? Like bars, like what you own and the location that you own don't change. They don't do shit that's different.
Yeah,
They open the door at the same time. The same people walk in. They don't want any new customers, right? So like, you guys have an opportunity to catch all the folks that those people have ignored for years.
And we've realized that and try to make the most of it, but we've also struggled with the friction that generates from the neighborhood. You know, like most of the people in the neighborhood love the bar and come in. You know, but there's always got to be like 2 or 3.
It seems like it's this big, but it's only this many people that.
Yeah, no, that's what I keep telling her.
Yeah.
Because she'll stew on it, and
just
she,
hurts the most when you hear the negativity.
yeah,
She does not want to upset people, and I have that too. But like, you just can't do anything in the world without upsetting a few people.
No.
You know.
I keep trying to tell myself when that happens is like if you feel like you're pleasing everybody, you're fucking it up. So you need that negativity to keep driving and keep pushing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Jeremy and Scott and I always work on trying to push people to their limits and get them in a situation where they need to decide like, okay, shit, I either gotta leave right now or I gotta just get into this and get after it. Because then you have those times like you have in Japan, eating mushrooms, unexpected fun times that you'll never forget. You will tell those stories until you're dead.
Yeah.
Where'd you guys just go to, like Malaysia or Thailand?
We did. We went. We did an Asian world tour.
We went to Malaysia and Thailand.
But yes, hold on to
Did you do
that.
any mushrooms?
Yes.
Hold on to that. What I think you were trying to say, Warren, because there's a parallel here with culture and love and community. Because anybody can open up a bar. We know the formula. You get some coolers and some beer and a cash register. But what makes Bad Moon cool is the vibe and the feeling and the love you get when you get inside there.
Yeah, you guys care.
So you have events which are great, but on a happy hour right now when there's no event, it's still rad in there.
Yeah.
Right? Because of the culture that you've created, the installation, the curating that you've put into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't know how to bartend. Even now, I'm our shittiest bartender, but that's a good thing because if I wasn't, we hired the wrong people. But we knew what it's like to be on the other side of the bar, and it's just common sense, man. Just don't ignore people. Be really nice to people, and we were really careful with the bartenders we hired because they've taught us a lot, and we made it known, that it was important to us that they're nice to people.
Sure.
And they are. They're
And how does that compare to Scotty's? Is that the next bar up?
Yeah.
It's a whole different vibe over at Scotty's.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different vibe.
Yeah, get in where you fit in. You know, who do you want? What vibe do you want to be wrapped up in?
Right. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, and I've got one more part of my notes that I wanted to ask you. You know, I'm looking for parallels, and we were talking about when you were building choppers, and then you have an eye for fashion. You have been schooled in fashion. Do you when you see a chopper, do you see how the handlebars are leaning forward or back, or the wheel, and
If
how
you were
the
to
seat?
build a chopper, you know which way you'd go.
Oh my God, I already have so many ideas. It's
Okay.
just in getting him to do it.
So you could draw out like a blueprint kind of.
Oh, for sure.
of a
Yeah.
chopper.
Yeah.
Well, we need more women on motorcycles, so get your ass moving,
For
Chris.
sure. Hey, man, Kristen's she spent miles and miles and miles
Yeah.
on a motorcycle.
And I even bought a bike, and then I was gonna take the classes, and then COVID happened, and then
Yeah, not on the
we
front
bought
of
a
motorcycle. But
and then we
back.
bought a bar. So I was like, well, I'll just keep
She
pushing.
got itty bitty legs, man.
They're so
And,
heavy.
It's a disability. I hear you have the same disability.
There's leverage. We can adjust that.
Yeah.
You see her footprints in the snow. They're like this big. She's wearing little heels. And then I got her a scooter because I figured that's like easy. There's no clutch or anything, so
Yeah.
she cruises that thing around a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's
Yeah,
cool.
that's all you need. Especially if you live in a vicinity where the house and the bar is close. Like you don't need.
Oh yeah.
You don't need
for
it.
sure.
But she's
Yeah.
definitely definitely been through some shit on the back of my bike. Like, one time we rode from Sturgis to our house in Bayview in a day. That was fucking wild, dude.
In a day.
Yeah,
in one day.
875, I think.
Fuck that.
What do you mean 875?
875 miles.
Oh, got it.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, now I guess I'm being greedy, or what's the word you used earlier when you were describing yourself? When you were talking about what with the Born Free motorcycle, you said, I don't want to be, you know what I'm talking about?
Pretentious?
Pretentious. I
Is
don't want to
that
be
what you
pretentious.
said?
Yeah.
Overconfident.
Yeah, but what? So through your eyes, you're well respected. Through your eyes, what is Mama tried?
What is Mom tried?
Yeah.
Well, man, I mean, I'm biased because I'm from, or I feel like I'm from Milwaukee. I'm not from Milwaukee.
Try
but
to
like,
clear your
I got
bias.
I got to see it originate. So I think everybody that was around like the first couple, like the first Flat Out Fridays and the first, to see what it's become is like pretty mind blowing. I mean, because there was a little renaissance of shit that was happening, and then I mean that one kind of grew and kept growing, and then everything else stopped. But like Hoodbush, I kind of saw as the same. It started out as this like organic, really cool event, and what was unique about Mom Tried was there was nothing to do in the fucking winter time.
Yeah.
And I think that was the smartest thing you guys did. Is honestly is having.
Unknowingly, like on accident.
Really?
Yeah.
You were gonna do it in the summer?
We didn't really. I think what was going on was we had a spot and we had an idea, and we just ran with it. And if we would have waited till the summer, we wouldn't have that spot anymore.
And the first one was like right by the Iron Horse, right?
Yeah, right next to it.
I remember that one. I got them all memorized. There was that one was like 1 or 2 years, 1 year.
1 year.
1 year, and then the one by Sobelman's
Yep. 1
for
year.
1 year, and then the one on Second Street
We did
for 2
2 or
years,
3.
and then ever since it's been.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been wild, And then that's
What was the biggest one? What was like the,
probably year 2 on Second Street.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was when there was a fucking line
It
around
was
the
70
block.
fucking
Yeah, I
degrees.
do.
and,
I
like,
remember.
Yeah, it was wild. That's the thing is like you have the same problem as us, right? You want to keep that bar until you're whatever. You're in it for the long haul, right? So you have to figure out how to keep that thing relative. You have to keep people coming in. You have to keep people interested. You have to keep pushing forward. We have to do the same thing.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's easy when you first started out and you have something cool and you have a great community like
Right.
that.
But you can't just stagnate.
You can't stagnate, right? And it creates this situation where, a lot of people went right, we went left, or vice versa. And, we have a vision. We want to keep it light and approachable and inclusive and et cetera, et
and
cetera.
fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh and there's a
Without
lot of
making
stress
it-
that comes with that.
Yeah.
Without making it lose its purity or whatever.
Yeah. And it eventually it's just not what it was when it first started. It's something different. And depending on who you are, it's good or bad.
It's like DC shoes when you're a skateboarder before they got sold at Walmart or whatever, you know?
Yep.
Well,
Or like-
are we sellouts?
No, I'm saying do you want to sell it at Walmart? You know what I mean? Like maybe the answer is like World Industries boards or something, when they're like, how big can you get before you have to make those decisions? I don't think you want to sell at Walmart, but maybe you do.
We
I don't
have
know.
limitations, man. Like
If
it's
I were
us.
walking away and I were you guys, I'm like, sell that shit at Walmart and then I'd peace out.
Yeah, at the end, like if that thing comes, right? But we're our own limitations, right? I don't think we'll ever be able to sell it to anybody because we fucked it up so bad, in like the way that it gets run and how bad it needs us to make it function, that nobody will want to fucking do it.
I did make you or watch you make a Harley Davidson employee cry once.
And I've cried many times too. So like,
Yeah.
it is what you get. It's so stressful. There's like this peak, and I'm getting much better at it. Like the first couple of years is a fucking mess, but now I'm like, I can actually chill and like not have to worry.
It's like
too
a
much.
well-oiled machine, or better
Yeah.
than.
Yeah.
We're trying to get the bar
elevate.
to get to that point.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
can't
there
wait.
yet.
Yeah.
I've definitely cried in our basement.
Oh, yeah. I cried one time in the rave, and I had the Paul from the rave. He's like the handyman maintenance guy over there, like being my wife, patting me on the shoulder, saying it'll be all right.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
You got this.
Yeah,
It's
that's
cool."
like our bartender, Angie. I remember very clearly. It was like our first motorcycle swap meet at the bar. And we were running out of beer because I just didn't order enough. I didn't know. And she just grabbed me by both shoulders and she's like, running out of beer is a good thing. I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, then let that lure live on.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
Man, we better get there early next
I
year.
heard you went in deep. I heard, what was it like? You had to front all that money, right, for the first Flat Out Friday? Or you talk about that shit on the podcast, or was that personal?
I don't know. I gotta follow it. I think that when we first started, I mean, I didn't know Warren really.
I mean, it was a gamble,
when we
no point
first
being, right?
started. So I wanted to prove myself to Scott and Warren that I could make this happen. I didn't want to come to you with asking for money with a plan that no one of us really knew was going to work. It was a pretty harebrained idea.
I think he's right though. Like I think you put your own personal down payment on to make them agree to let us do a crazy race in the building.
Sure. I cashed in all of my chips to make it happen.
Yeah.
And you're talking like about the stress of crying for Mama Tried, and of course I've had my own stress of crying because what I'm trying to do with Flat Out Friday is keep it fresh, and I'm always putting my chips in. That's my buzz, right? That's the addiction. And then coming up red 7 again. Holy shit, let's push it a little further. Of course, I've bet on, the bad numbers and we've lost. But I'm addicted to that, the chaos that we create in an arena with things happening all around us that are...
Yeah, who'd have thought that a bunch of fucking hillbillies from Milwaukee would jump into, the newest, baddest
Sure.
arena in the country, right? Like during the calm before the storm, when you have the races and you have the practice ends and you're waiting for the doors to open and everybody walking in and like everybody's sitting on hay bales. There's kids running around. It's like a backyard barbecue in the Fiserv Forum.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And we're breaking all of the rules.
All of them.
That they're not used to. Metallica doesn't have kids on bicycles and people jumping over the barricades to get in the back.
They've been really calm. Like they've handled it really well, I think. And we're organized and like, we're gonna push limits.
And people respect and listen to us. So hey, buddy, I need you to stop doing that. And people do it. So it is relatively.
Yeah.
It's not easy to run, but it gets easier to run, and then that's why I try to make it more crazy.
You're your own worst enemy.
I am my own worst enemy. If this is a quasi-therapeutic sessions.
It's also legit when you put yourself out there and you're doing the races, and then somebody jumps between your legs
Yeah.
on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
So
And then
during the-
fucking Lala wipes it off with his clean my bike and wiped it clean off. I was gonna leave that shit on there forever.
I was like watching right from the view where your legs are sticking up in the air, and somebody went between them.
Yeah, that's on the internet, isn't it? It's on
Yeah,
YouTube or
it's somewhere.
It was, yeah. I think the picture was taken from maybe the same angle as my seat. You remember that when he got ran over?
Yeah.
Yeah, but nothing touched me. Just my
You
bike.
just said a zzz,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then you fell back.
Legs
You-
wide
like you
open.
couldn't. If we tried to plan that, we couldn't. It would take months of rehearsal.
Right. Same thing like how JJ wiped out, like sitting on somebody's handlebars. Like that's kind of the magic of Flat Out Fridays. Really unexpected, tight, fast, crashing, exciting.
Is it inappropriate class here to stay?
Well, I'm gonna put. We've been planting this seed for the last few podcasts. I need you to step up and do something.
Please. Bad Moon Saloon.
You see the porta potty. You
Needs-
see the standard that's
I
set.
know, man. I know, dude. That porta potty is really, that's a high bar.
Okay, well, you come on. Let's just go to bed tonight.
Man.
Don't even talk about it anymore right now.
All
Just
right.
go to bed tonight and let that seed.
I'll hire Mike Casto to build me something.
Well,
And I'll
however,
race it. I'll just race it.
Perfect.
I want to see something come out of that tunnel. I want every
Dude,
bike
I'll
to be
get there.
better than better. Funnier and funny. More and more
That was my
ridiculous.
favorite class. I mean, that's like everybody's favorite class.
Yeah.
For sure, but that doesn't happen on its own. We need to plant those seeds.
That and the brakeless. That one year, was it Matt Boxler?
Yeah.
Wrecked ass into those
Yeah.
fucking hay bales or something.
He hurt himself pretty
Oh,
bad.
dude, it looked like it hurt.
I don't remember this.
Yeah.
I don't want to remember
You,
it.
you didn't.
No, I don't want to see it. Let's stop
You
talking
just
about it.
denial.
You see Jeremy's anxiety just climb through the roof.
Because the headphones. Yeah, I guess really I am addicted to that intensity of what goes on to run an event. And just like you love it when it's on a Saturday night and you're running out of beer, you gotta love it.
Yeah.
You'll learn to love
Yeah.
that.
I almost
Yeah.
lit a customer on fire the other day with
Yeah.
some gasoline.
Okay.
Like,
Of course you
I
did.
just splashed this gasoline in this burn pit to light it on fire, and the dude just stuck his face over the barrel like right when I was doing
Oh.
it. But you know,
Good thing we have insurance.
Exactly.
All
Burn
right.
barrel
Well,
I
insurance.
hope they're not listening to this.
Kristin Graves, married couple, Let's Hear It for Love. I'm doing a summary. Working at Harley Davidson, falling in love, going to college, fashion and function, chopper building, the bar, putting that together, making that experience of Bad Mood Saloon,
Making the Midwest proud.
and making the Midwest proud. Did I summarize in a run-on sentence?
Yeah, man. Thanks. I mean, like I said, I feel like I'm from here for some reason.
I
'cause all
wouldn't
the
have
places-
second guessed it. I was shocked to hear that you're from Utah
Yeah. Well, definitely not from Utah.
or from Alaska. But I think Alaska, from what I know, there's a bit of people from Alaska are on the they're on the outs.
They go their own way.
That's
That's where I got my authority problem, and my fear of the government. You know,
Yes.
this is like a natural as part of being an Alaskan. Is like you're fearful of the government
Yeah.
and you're protective of your own space.
Yeah, and that's a Wisconsin kind of a thing, right? This-
No, because
no?
when I moved here, people are like walking through my yard, and I was blown away. I don't know, you know.
Okay, so we're
It's
too
totally
friendly.
different, dude.
We're too friendly. I think there's a mix of that. I don't want to call it paranoia, but of that that idea that the world is unlimited. That's kind of an Alaska mindset, is it not?
Sure, I suppose. Yeah.
And I think there's a little bit of that in Wisconsin.
Yeah. There's. I
But
mean, they're
we
the
can
best.
do
The best
anything.
people here for sure. That's one thing.
I want to go deeper. What do you mean? What is best? Like you asked, what was the best show?
Like-
what quantifies best?
When I mean, I'll give you measurable thing. Well, I don't know if they're measurable, but they're factual. Like when I moved, I feel like, and this is not a knock on where I come from and the West Coast
Salt
or
of the
the
earth
East Coast.
Alaskans.
I spent time there visiting friends and stuff. But like here, it took me 2 full years to realize that people here are not talking shit about you as soon as you turn around. Like it took me a long time to really understand that, And to you, that's just natural. But to me, it wasn't natural, and I really had to like understand that people really, if they seem nice, it's because they actually are, And I think that that's something that you don't find everywhere necessarily.
I appreciate that insight.
Yeah.
Great.
Honesty. People.
Yeah.
There's no second agenda or double agenda or hidden agenda.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming here.
Yeah,
Thanks
appreciate
for
it.
having us.
Thanks for
awesome.
coming here. What do you think of this
Dude, this
space?
is awesome.
I love it. It's cool.
Fucking dungeon. I see you shivering over there.
I'm a
You-
little
you
chilly. I'm always cold though, so.
All right. Well, I think that's it then. You can clap it up.
That's a great-